chat.
Jamboree since I reviewed it on Nintendo Switch last October. I loved it from the jump, scoring it a 9 in my original review, and it's continued to be a top choice on game nights with family and friends.
People hated
I was
the new one.
thrilled when Nintendo revealed that this would be one of the first Switch 1 games to get a Switch 2 expansion, thinking an upgraded version with great mouse control minigames and interesting new ways to party would be a total slam dunk. Unfortunately, Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV is just as sloppy as its overly wordy title. With a handful of problems
wait, that mini game looks fun as fuck.
Jamboree TV is just as sloppy as its overly wordy
We're
title.
gonna be in there. I will be ground
the
pounding
frustrating
every
decision
time.
to completely separate its new and old content.
stupid
The
ass.
fantastic base game is
Cook
still
up.
hidden
I'm
underneath
ground
a
pounding
pile of
every
annoying
time.
choices, but it's tough to recommend the Switch 2 Edition as the clear, definitive version of the best Mario Party there's ever been.
That's sick. How'd they fumble?
Congratulations.
I'm probably
Before I
the
get
only
into the
person
major
that would make you
differences
throw
between
something other than
Jamboree
rock.
on Switch 1 and Switch
I
2,
will be
I
playing
highly
into
recommend
that
you check out
bullshit.
my original review
I'll
from
throw
last
paper
year
every
if you're looking
time
for
until you
in-depth
don't.
thoughts on the
Cook
base
up.
game, because
That's
it all
why
still holds
the reason I've
true.
never lost
Super
because I played
Mario
everybody
Party
once.
Jamboree itself is still an amazing time with
don't
fantastic
know.
boards and items that emphasize
But no.
strategy more than ever before.
They'll figure it
a
out.
great selection of minigames that features returning classics and new favorites, and a gorgeous presentation and attention to detail that elevate the whole package. I've been playing Mario Party pretty much my entire life,
people
and now
got
that
the
I've had it for
misfortune
almost a
bonus.
year,
They
I
got
can
fried.
definitively say that Jamboree is my favorite entry in the series. If you don't own it at all,
Hey,
I
W
can't
Jamboree.
recommend the Switch
That shit
1
was fun.
version enough.
You got stars.
However, with all that said, that doesn't mean the Switch 2 Edition
Platform
plus
peril.
Jamboree TV is worth the upgrade. This
That's
new
so
version
sick.
is essentially an entirely unaltered port of the Switch 1 game
Oh, buddy.
with its Jamboree TV expansion glued on. When you first boot it up, the menu will look familiar to anyone who's played Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. You select between Super Mario Party Jamboree, complete
or
with
you
a
swipe
Switch
right and
1
you get
icon on
the-
top left, indicating this is
the new
just
shit.
the old game and nothing more.
Oh,
not
buddy.
even a resolution bump. And Jamboree TV, which displays a Switch 2 icon and actually makes
And
use
this is
of the
just
new
gimmick
tech.
central.
The difference between this and 3D World's expanded version, however, is that 3D World and Bowser's Fury are wholly unique games that make sense to separate, while these two share a majority of their content but differ in strange, limiting ways.
Yeah, it's weird that. So if you play the new content, you can't do any of the old shit. So any of the new mini games, you gotta do all the gimmicky ones. You can't combine the gimmicky ones with the. Yeah, they're all bullshit. I see the problem.
Jamboree TV is where all of the new
Hold
minigames
on.
and modes that take advantage of the Switch
Oh,
2's
hey,
hardware
hey,
live. The clear
that
highlight
was
is the
fun.
set of 14 new minigames that use the Joy-Con 2's mouse
14
controls.
new minigames.
Switch 2's mouse controls may not be comfortable for extended periods of time, but they work super well in the context of a 45-second Mario Party minigame, and I was surprised by how much I loved the entire lineup. Highlights include Stuffy Stacker, where you work with a partner to build the tallest tower possible out of blocks and Yoshi plushies, and the chaotic Goomba Scoopas, where you drive a snowplow to
cram
frantically
them.
shove piles of Goombas into your team's gate. Playing with mouse controls means everyone has to use a single Switch 2
That's so
Joy-Con
well.
instead of a pair or a Pro Controller, but with the improved larger design over the original Joy-Con, it feels like less of a concession and more of a legitimate option this
Yeah,
time.
being
Every
forced
mouse
to use the
minigame is
Joy-Con is
2v2,
tough.
which
That's
adds a
why I
ton
didn't
of
like,
variety to the lineup of team games
let's
that appear
go.
in Mario Party mode.
Finish.
Speaking of which, Jamboree TV adds two
She was
great
annoying.
rule sets to try
Come on,
out
let's go.
alongside the original that put fun spins on the classic dice rolling action. The first is tag team rules, which pits two teams of two against
I'm
each other.
scooping.
Every player still takes their
Amazing
own
Waluigi,
turn, but
it's
each
me.
pair shares the same pool of stars, coins, and items, so you need to work together on every decision to come out on top. It's a fun way to shake up
96.
the traditional format and builds even further upon the strategic
Damn.
foundation of the base game.
Oh,
I
buddy.
also love the new Frenzy rules, a fast-paced way to fit a whole game of Mario Party in without it taking upwards of 90 minutes. Frenzy games only last 5 turns, or roughly 30 minutes, and each
Oh,
player starts
that's cool.
out with 50 coins, a double dice, and even a star. Every roll and minigame feels crucial when you only have 5 turns to set
Yeah,
yourself
that's-
apart
that's-
from
that's
the
pretty
pack,
cool.
and this is an exciting mode I never knew I wanted.
Oh, it's weird seeing old DK.
Unfortunately, it's a shame Jamboree TV doesn't add any new boards to the mix, instead focusing on side modes that
Yeah,
are pretty
that's
forgettable.
fucking crazy.
Carnival Coaster is a
They really
cooperative
coulda
mode
just
where
did
you
some
use
new
mouse controls
boards.
in an on-rail shooter, completing team
Drop
minigames
some
as
new
you go
fucking
to add more
minigames have
time
been
to the
fun.
clock. I play Mario Party to compete, not cooperate, and it starts to feel repetitive after just a couple of runs.
Finish.
Meanwhile, Bowser Live uses the Switch 2's built-in microphone and optional camera in an attempt to put you into the game. You enter Bowser's lair and pop out of a warp pipe, and if you have a camera plugged in, see a live image of yourself. You then compete in completely controller-free minigames where you stack Goombas on your head or just literally scream into the microphone as loud as you can to score points.
Is the imprisoned.
Oh, cook up.
We've known since the days of
I
WarioWare
want to see what he
Snaps
thinks
that
when he
minigames
fights it a
control
million times.
better with an actual controller than with a camera or microphone,
At least it's
and
not the
Bowser
second
Live doesn't
fight.
do
The
anything to
second
change
one,
that truth. A microphone minigame where you clap
They just
your feet,
need
for
fuck-ass
example, is so
arms.
much
You
less
just
precise
need,
than the Donkey Kong
the goat to
minigame
pull
where
up
you do
for
the
the
same
assist.
thing but with actual buttons.
Meh.
As a result, the appeal wears off after
I was
just a couple of
every
minutes,
time
and at my
when,
most cynical, it feels like a
when Bruce
tacked-on
tackles
mode
you in the
designed
air,
to
I was
sell
like,
Switch 2 cameras and nothing
Hey,
more.
no, that scene is one of my favorite scenes in
Jamboree
Zelda,
TV in
period.
general makes use of Switch 2's
Bro,
ability to use a camera, as live feeds of you and your friends'
link
faces
frame,
are
bro.
visible
Yeah,
throughout
no,
the party.
cooking.
Although you don't
No, I'm
need a
sending
camera
it
to
on
access
Discord,
these
I know.
modes and
Cook
can
up.
play
I
everything
love
but
Expressible
Bowser
Link.
Live without missing out on any content. Yes, I tried this feature with some friends, but they
It
didn't
would've been
want
nice
in
to
the
get a
video, so I
sequel.
had to awkwardly use the camera by myself. I guess it's a nice novelty, and kids might like seeing themselves or their parents inside the game, but it's not something I ever see myself using outside
Easily
of
the
testing it
best
for
link.
this review.
in my
Yeah,
opinion.
nah, he cook up. I really like him.
Even though some of the new content is worthwhile, things get really frustrating when you consider how Jamboree and Jamboree TV
That
split
and
up
then
their
Toon Link
content.
for
As I
having,
mentioned, the
like,
Jamboree
almost the
side of the
same amount of
fence is a
personality.
straight port of the Switch 1 game, which means there's no mouse control minigames, camera functionality, or option to do the Frenzy and Tag Team rules. That wouldn't be a problem if the Jamboree TV side of things was an outright replacement and included everything Jamboree has to offer, but it's inexplicably missing a ton of content from the Switch 1 side. Jamboree TV completely lacks Pro Rules, which was one of Jamboree's best additions. It reduces luck and focuses on strategy, and I praised it in my original review. Here, it's only available on the Switch 1 side, and so are all of
That's so weird.
Jamboree's original side modes. That's Koopathlon, Bowser Kaboom Squad, Paratroopa Flight School, Toad's Item Factory, Rhythm Kitchen, the single-player campaign Party Planning Trek,
was one of my
and
biggest
every
gripes with
mode
Breath
in
of the
Minigame
Wild.
Bay besides free play.
Just
like,
not be that expression.
that and like other than Terrytown, the game takes itself like way too
More
seriously.
importantly, Jamboree
Oh,
TV
yeah.
lacks all of Jamboree's achievements, customization,
understand
and
the stakes,
unlockables.
but, like,
In the Switch 1 version, you have to
you gotta
earn
throw
party
some
points to
Goofy in
buy
there.
additional stickers and finish
Good.
achievements to unlock 3 of the boards.
'Cause,
But Jamboree TV just
Tears
gives
is
you
very
everything
depressing.
right from the start, taking away the
Yeah.
fun sense of progression and
I don't know
incentive
if
to play single
do you know
player
about
that
like
I
story
really
and shit
value.
like that in that
It
game?
also means if you're buying this new on
Almost.
Switch 2,
I
you'll
was
have
just-
everything
I was
unlocked
just
in
saying,
Jamboree
though,
TV,
like, even, like,
but
shit with
nothing
Zelda,
unlocked in
like,
Jamboree,
damn.
which is just odd.
Being depressing as fuck.
What's stranger is that these two sides don't talk to each other whatsoever. If you're playing Jamboree TV and do something that would normally
it's very
earn you
weird
an
because you're
achievement
buying-
over in Jamboree, nothing happens, and the
I mean, I
Switch
guess
1
it is an
version
upgrade.
doesn't recognize it at all when you return there.
A new record.
Just strange.
Damn,
Another
Toad,
example is
either
minigame
suck or you
records.
fucking
My group and I love
go
to
way
chase
too
high
far,
scores in
dumbass.
minigames, whether in free play
This
or during the
weak-ass
Mario Party game
platform
itself.
peril.
But Jamboree TV doesn't track
all you
records
got,
at
That
all.
shit used to
Did
be
you
the
get a new
best.
crazy high score on the button mashing domination? Switch 1 Jamboree will
W Finn.
congratulate you with the iconic new record sound effect and display
my
that
God, it
score
keeps
until
going.
He
someone
was going
tweets it.
crazy.
A new record.
While Switch 2's Jamboree TV won't track
Yeah,
it
new record,
anywhere.
No kidding.
Finish.
Oh, it doesn't
Even
track
worse,
it?
the Switch
Oh,
1
that's weird.
side didn't receive any performance or resolution updates
Oh,
to take advantage
buddy!
of the new hardware. Jamboree TV
So the
runs in
upgraded version
1440p
doesn't run
docked,
any
but
better or look any
Jamboree
better.
is 1080p docked and still a noticeable 720p handheld, which was the maximum resolution of the Switch 1 screen. Nintendo was charging $80 for the Switch 2 edition at launch, when more than half of it is quite literally an unchanged Switch 1 game. And while it's
Oh,
only
buddy.
$20 for the upgrade if you already own it, I'm still not sure that's worth the compromised way this expansion works.
And all the new shit is just gimmicky bullshit.
Do you want to play Pro Rules with the enhanced resolution? It's simply not possible. How about the mouse control minigames while still working toward achievements? You can't do that either. It also takes so long to swap between the two versions that you're better off just closing the software altogether and rebooting. The staff credits
God
roll
damn!
every time you leave TV, but at least they're skippable.
I knew this Switch 2 bullshit was gonna be like this, man.
One of my favorite things about
That
Jamboree is
shit's
how many
Nintendo.
choices it gives you to
That
make
shit's
your
very
Mario
unfortunate.
Party experience exactly what you want it to be. But Jamboree plus Jamboree TV
This
has
is just-
entirely lost
this
that
should
graceful
just
design
been-
just 9 months later,
this shit could've
unless
been
you
an email.
only
It's
stick in the
Nintendo.
unaltered base game, which defeats the
They
entire
just clearly
purpose
don't
of the
care.
upgrade. Super Mario Party Jamboree is the best entry in the series, but the
Even
new
when they,
content
like,
of the
try
Switch
to
2
care, they
edition
just
plus
seem so
Jamboree
disjointed
TV
from what
re-release
anybody
adds
wants.
frustrating limitations and
Oh, yeah,
strange
no,
design
they-
decisions to what was otherwise a polished,
Somebody says they want some
customizable
shit.
experience. Its camera-focused
said nah.
content is pretty forgettable, but there are a few worthwhile additions, like the great mouse control minigames and interesting new rule sets. However, it's hard to enjoy them to the fullest due to how this content is divided across two separate versions that don't talk to each other at all. Core features like achievements, unlockables, minigame records, and even rule
Fry.
sets are locked behind the Switch
No,
1 version,
I was about
which
to say,
shockingly
if he-
got
if he
zero
made it-
performance or resolution updates
Oh,
like
brother.
the Jamboree TV portion did.
That'd be
If the
coming.
new stuff had been seamlessly integrated with the old under one umbrella, this would be a slam dunk. But as it
Also,
stands, if you
I know we talked
already
about skins
own
before.
Jamboree, I only recommend
Skins
upgrading
here
if you're
come too.
really interested in the new content. And if you're looking to buy Jamboree for the first time, it's not like you'll be disappointed by what's here, but the things that Jamboree
Lose
TV
20.
adds hardly feel worth the price when you
Oh,
could
brother.
just pick up the cheaper Switch 1 version instead.
7.
Executive review.
That being said, I'm pretty sure I saw him go on Twitter and say that he was forced to do that.
To give it
I
a
don't want
7.
to. I don't want to force down, but I remember I saw some shit on Twitter about him being way more negative about it.